Hi everyone, as Iona said, my name's Drew and I am a native of South Tyneside, a small enclave on the northeast coast, sort of sandwiched in between Sunderland and Newcastle, hence the accent. So what can I tell you about CAST or Citizens Assembly South Tyneside? Well, maybe I should roll back a little bit first and start by giving you a quick overview of how our local council is set up to give you a better idea of where we're coming from. Okay, so when the Local Government Act came into effect in 2000, our local council moved from a committee system of governance to the leader and cabinet format. And it's been like that ever since. Um, and now, as a result, we have just 9 Labour councillors holding all of the decision-making power in our borough, despite holding just 28 out of the 54 seats. Now, I'm not sure about you, but we don't think that that's very democratic. And that is where caste originally came from. Just a group of normal local people who got together in 2019 because ordinary voices were not being heard by those making decisions on our behalf. One thing that we agreed on right from the start is that there is no hard and fast rule of what an assembly should look like. The common definition of a citizens' assembly is a body made up of citizens selected via a process of sortition to deliberate on an issue of local or national importance. People are actually selected to become part of the assembly. Well, that is not how caste works. Yeah, we welcome everyone to get involved in shaping local policy, not just a select few. Democracy needs to be inclusive. We need an innovative and creative approach to the issues that we're facing both locally and nationally. And you're not going to get that by excluding people because that's how we've ended up where we are now. Our members choose to join us and our members choose the issues that are important to them. So since our formation, we've organised 2 borough-wide arts festivals, held a number of online public events with speakers such as Dr. Alison Pollock. We've done policy work on climate change. Divest Tyne and Wear originated from our Divest South Tyneside group. And we have just concluded our 4th annual summer entertainment programme where families from across the borough can enjoy free fun days at community venues near them. Our members are now looking to cast in the absence of local democracy, which brings us nicely back to our council. As I said, they hold 52% of the vote share, and you might quite reasonably think that it's fair enough that they hold all of the decision-making power. However, what if I said that voter turnout across the borough as a whole was just over 32%? Now, my maths is rubbish, but if just over 37,000 actually voted, and 52% of those voted Labour, then that means, I think, that about 18,500 people are represented from a base of around 114,000 registered voters. Right? Now, again, is that democratic? Where are the other 95,000 or so voices actually represented? And the simple answer is that they're not. And that's where our current project, Transforming Democracy on South Tyneside, comes in. Now, this is really important to remember, and I really cannot stress this enough, that caste is non-party political. We have absolutely no political affiliations. We are 100% independent. But we also have a growing number of green and independent councillors in the borough, and the simple fact is that they and their electors are being excluded by the current setup, and it's just getting worse as the controlling Labour group dig in. Now, to highlight this, a couple of weeks ago, the council's local plan was voted down as a result of local petitions and opposition councillors. And this is the first time that I've ever seen anything like that in South Tyneside. If council decision making was more representative and more inclusive, this entire situation could have been avoided and an alternative plan could have been developed. A plan which would have been acceptable to all interest groups. And so yesterday, we launched our campaign to petition the council to move to a committee system, representative of the political breakdown of the borough. If people can see that their voices are being heard and acted on, we believe that this will lead to increased participation and a much less toxic political environment. We need we need people to be engaged, and this is the next stage of our project, establishing hyper-local hyper-local assemblies coming up with solutions for a specific area. There is simply no one-size-fits-all blanket solution. Everybody has ideas, so why not bring them to the table? Imagine if residents had had input into where council spending should be prioritised or where cuts, unfortunately, could be made rather than diktats simply being handed down from above. Yeah, often by people with very little to no experience of actually living in those communities. A dream? Maybe. But to quote the late Bob Crow, leader of the RMT union, if you fight, you won't always win, but if you don't fight, you will always lose.